Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Bradford Cloud User Group podcast. This is our August podcast, and I am joined by by the management team, as I like to call them, Imran and Saj. Hi, Saj. Imran, you all right?
Hi Shabazz, hi everyone.
Good. I was just thinking, is it going to be our 1 year Bradford Cog anniversary next month? Did we kick off in September or was it October?
That's when I think we came up with the idea, not when
I
we
think
started.
we need to do on our 1 year anniversary. We need to get a cake and we need to do a little series on that.
I think February is when we started doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And I think with meetups, it was also February.
Was it? But we've got everything was set up in October for some reason. Maybe all the planning went in October.
Yeah, it took us ages to plan it, if I remember rightly. But no, look at us now, man. Regular monthly events and podcasts. It's really good.
Yeah, it's been a good journey.
We can have a birthday Imran if you want cake.
We could do one anyway because we actually started planning it in September last year. So
you think you'd be full after last night's meal that we had?
I blame Simon. Actually, I don't blame Simon. I feel sorry for him now.
I've not heard from him, I better check on him to be fair.
He's all right. I was chatting to him on Twitter earlier.
He's tweeting away, so I'm sure he's still
all right.
So obviously we had Mohammed Kari on last month, gentleman, around, and he was talking about his recent transition from being a university student to becoming a graduate, and he's on a graduate scheme at a net company where I work. And it was a really interesting session. I'm sure you both agree. And like we said, we were talking about it, and we talked about apprenticeships, didn't we, during that talk? And obviously, Mohammed Kari went that way to uni. So we thought it'd be, myself, Saj, and Imran thought it'd be a really good idea to get an apprentice on, somebody who's working through an apprenticeship in IT, has transitioned from that sort of school life into essentially working full time and studying as well. So it's my pleasure to introduce our guest for August, Azaan Darr.
Hi there.
Hi, Azaan.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Azaan.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you guys.
All good, mate. All good. We're
Azaan Darr, there it
excited to
goes.
have you on.
The banner's up.
There we go.
Awesome. Oh, yeah.
We
Cool.
should have some party poppers as well for him.
Maybe next
So,
time.
Malcolm.
So yeah, people have obviously seen that the last names match with me and Azaan. Just to clarify, discuss the elephant in the room. Yes, we are related. He's my nephew. So we're really happy to have you on, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the call.
How's your day been?
Yeah. Knees deep, to be honest. Working on a lot of stuff today.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing about it shortly.
Yeah. So,
Welcome, Azaan. Do you want to just give a brief introduction to yourself to our viewers?
yeah. Well, my name's Azaan Darr. I'm 18 years old. Started working as an IT apprentice about, I think, almost 3 months. I've done a lot of kind of freelance work, graphic design in the past. I'm familiar with computers. No kind of technical background, just familiar with user level stuff. So not completely IT illiterate, but not advanced.
Familiar with the keyboard and mouse.
Exactly. There we go. No.
Do you know some tech? Everyone I've spoken to about how did you start your career in tech? They've always started with some computers, playing with a bit of computers, pulling. I'm guessing you must have pulled apart stuff in your life and try to join it back together again and stuff like that. Yeah.
There you go.
So it always starts like that. You're only 18. It's just your journey just starting, isn't it? So
Exactly.
I'm sure you're gonna do well.
No.
Moving on from what Saj just spoke to you about, you mentioned you're in an apprenticeship scheme working in IT. Could we just start off with a bit more about your education? What what did you do prior to this IT job that you've started?
Yes. So I didn't have any IT related GCSEs or anything like that. went to college to do creative media, which isn't IT related either. That's kind of how I got into the whole freelancing thing. From creative media's essentially like graphic design, a bit of programming, app development, that kind of thing. But I think IT is just something I wanted to do. It's more the problem solving aspect of it, and kind of just working on an ongoing kind of working on something ongoing that you need to find the solution to, and also encourages teamwork as well. There's a lot of teamwork involved, getting other people to give you a hand, stuff like that. So that's kind of why I went down the IT route, or started looking for apprenticeships in that. I was actually going to go to university to do game development. I backed out a day before for a lot of different reasons, but the main one was kind of just spending the next 5 years of my life in education, and obviously I'd just come out of high school, and I'm not the type of person to learn a lot behind a desk and things like that. So a lot of different factors, but yeah.
So did you actually was it sixth form, or did you just literally come out of?
No. So I came out of high school and I did a BTEC, level 3 BTEC.
At college?
At college, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
At college.
Nice.
It's quite interesting to hear your reasons for doing going into IT and apprenticeship. The fact you're saying the problem solving element of it, and the whole teamwork element of it. It's quite interesting that those reasons. I love the problem solving. I sometimes think of myself as like an investigator, because that's what we are. We problem solvers a lot of the time. Even at our level, Azaan, we're consultants or architects, and we're doing the same thing. We speak to customers and they've got a problem which we need to fix. Essentially, it might not be a support ticket, but it's a network issue. They might want a network upgrade, and we need to solve an issue with it. So it's very interesting. You should say that, actually.
So are you saying that you started troubleshooting from a young age, and kind of then got into IT, or was it?
I think my dad always used to troubleshoot things, like to set up the network at home and that kind of thing. And as soon as I started learning about networking, kind of all the pieces started coming together, and I realized that, okay, this makes more sense now that I've kind of spent a bit of time trying to understand it. And kind of, there's an actual use for it at the same time as well. When you're in school, you get taught things that you can't really make out the use for. I think I'd see the things that you learn, you have an immediate kind of use for them, which just helps one just commit it to memory, and then also just just commit it to memory. Just helps remember.
It was just interesting. I just thought, when people start in tech, do you reckon they have, do they start troubleshooting at an early age? I know, for example, I think Shabazz just froze. Oh, she's back. I know Saj didn't go into tech. He did a degree. Was it in finance, Saj? And then you were into tech. So what were you like, Saj, when you were younger? Were you into IT or stuff like that, or did you just get into it after uni?
So interestingly, when I was younger, computer was just about coming into the home. People didn't have them, and they were expensive. I mean, tech is expensive to buy now, and we went through a phase where it was relatively inexpensive to buy. But a home PC, and you're talking about 64 gig of storage, maybe less than that. You had floppy, a lot less than that actually. You had
floppy disks, man. Don't remind me of them.
And Windows came on
this
about.
Conversation's getting depressing. We're all
51 floppy disks. Man, 51 floppy disks. I've probably got them somewhere if you want a copy.
Oh my god!
Man, can you remember those days? Floaty. And now what we got? USB sticks with terabytes of data in them.
£1,500 to buy.
Let's not bore young Shabazz, who's only just turned 21 yesterday.
No, the problem is I can relate to this stuff, but it's depressing because I remember it all. That's what it is. And it's all probably new to Azaan.
Remember the Ataris and the Commodore 64s and the Amstrad?
Oh, do you know what? Atari. I used to have one of the Ataris and Commodore 64s.
I've got in my home house in the loft. There's all BBC an Acorn Electron. It probably still works. You just sat there.
Azaan, you know what? You're really lucky. You've got super fast broadband. You've got
I know.
everything's fast. You know, it's all thanks to us doing all the hard work for you. Just kidding.
You don't know the struggles. Do you know the struggles of dial-up modems? Do you?
Yeah, you know, as they say, back in the days.
Back in the days, definitely.
Azaan, clarify something for me, please. Are you working in hardware? Is that what you're doing? Computer infrastructure? What is that?
Not hardware. More 365. Just support tickets, really.
In Azure?
Sorry.
Did you say Microsoft 365? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand now. Yeah.
Yes. Simple admin tasks.
No, it's a good place.
That's how-
Everybody starts at the bottom. Admin tasks, problem solving, get you a lot. I mean, like Shabazz was saying, even at the architecture level, even if it's not a problem, if you're looking at migrating a customer from what they have now to somewhere else, it is essentially a problem that you can break down to and resolve, isn't it? And work out the steps you need to take the customer from where they are now to where they want to be in the future. And it's not a problem ticket, but essentially you can break the task down to, a lot of little problems and resolve all those problems. Just write it down in a fancy document.
Yeah, for sure.
So you might have already kind of answered this question, Azaan, but your education, like that you did it include any sort of work experience or hands-on sort of element to it, or was it all kind of, like exams and theory sort of stuff?
IT related or just generally?
So your education. So before you started your apprenticeship, you obviously did your media study. Was it practical element? Do you have any practical like work experience, or was it all sort of just theory based?
No work experience, but we did have like projects like creating the film trailer, designing posters, that kind of thing. We did have some practical elements, yeah.
And how about your actual apprenticeship now that you're doing? So obviously your apprenticeship's not just all working. Obviously there's a work element to it, but there's also, I mean, is it twice a week lesson studies?
No, so we actually have courses that happen every few months, and then we have the Microsoft exam at the end of it. So I've just done one just recently, my networking exam, MTA,
Right.
and apart from that, it's just being hands-on on the job, and then when those courses come around, we just get them done. It's like a short burst course and the exam straight away, which is great for me because it's just good to kind of get it out of the way and then carry on with what I'm working on. And also we do have like tasks from an external third-party education provider. I'm not really sure, but I do them tasks, but they don't take much time. So that's kind of the structure of the apprenticeship.
It's quite interesting because I mean, we're at a place I used to work. They had apprentices, but theirs was like 2 days, like studying. So they'd either go to college or they'd have online work, but then 3 days obviously kind of working. So that's quite interesting that yours is like in small bursts. Was it once a month? Did you say?
Not once a month. I get 6 qualifications from this 1 year apprenticeship.
Oh wow.
And then I think it's like every few months, however that the maths works out, there's a course.
Interesting. Wasn't aware they really invest in you, don't they? Really taking care of you as well. Yeah, nice.
100%. Yeah.
So is it all Microsoft based? So like you said, you just did the Microsoft networking, and was it MTA that you did?
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, what are the other ones you're planning on doing?
I think the first one was a Microsoft one. There's a scripting and automations one later on in the year. Business management, cloud fundamentals. Although I've already done a course in cloud fundamentals, I think there's something where it goes into Azure and the rest of it. I can't remember the last qualification, but they kind of cover all aspects.
That's really interesting. Is that's quite amazing actually, because that's literally where the industry is right now. The sort of stuff you just mentioned there. So that's really good preparation for your future, I think, in the industry. What do you two reckon?
He's gone in. Yeah, absolutely. Everything's recent. Everything's new, hot. Or automation, scripting, Azure, or Azure, or whatever you call, there's obviously two types. I go with the American version. I call it Azure. Apparently, that's the proper way of saying it as well. Azure, according
All right, man,
to.
that works.
But yeah, you've got Azure there. You've got Microsoft 365. All this is like trending hot at the moment. So
Definitely, yeah.
You're in the right areas, definitely.
No,
Have they got any jobs going? Just kidding.
I was going to say, they're laying down the foundations for Azaan well there. Especially touching on scripting and automation, cloud fundamentals, working in M365 services, networking. So at the end of the year, you'll have experience as well as having, got a grasp of more than just the fundamentals of what you need, and you can decide, which bit you want to go on in the future. So hopefully it'll work out well for you, Azaan.
Yeah, thank you.
You touched on this at the beginning, Azaan, but based on your education, you did some graphics design, you did some app development. Traditionally, the route would have been going down a CS degree, customer computer sciences degree, doing some application development, software development, but you chose an apprenticeship. What was your reason for choosing an apprenticeship over a traditional computer sciences degree?
I think a lot of it's to do with the way that I learn. Being hands-on for me and kind of seeing it in front of me rather than learning about it and then having to apply it in my own time is it's just frustrating for me when I'm trying to commit something into my head and want to pull it from my brain for later use. And when I do things myself and kind of figure it out for myself, it definitely helps me kind of
Remember,
I know what you mean,
learn and apply. Is that the way you work? So learn something, apply it, repeat, learn something, apply, and it works better for you.
Definitely, yeah.
Azaan's a hands-on person, similar to myself. I was exactly the same. Now, I went down the other route. I went down the degree route. But again, if I had to make that, I don't regret it, don't get me wrong, but if I had to make the decision again, I would definitely go down the apprenticeship route because I'm very similar, Azaan. I'm maybe it's a Darr thing, but I'm very I'm very practical. I learn by doing rather than just reading. That's why I've never had, like with the Microsoft exams, at the moment, if it's a subject that I've done as part of my role, I will normally ace it. But if it's something that I don't do very often, I struggle because I need to apply it. So I'll just do lab work. So I think that it sounds like an apprenticeship is perfect for you because that hands-on experience you're going to learn probably more in this year than you would in your three-year degree. In my opinion,
I'll remember more. Yeah, I'll remember more.
100%.
I've just recently found though as well. I don't think every companies, even the bigger companies, they're not all in it with the apprenticeship schemes at the moment, are they? For example, there's a number of companies. One of the requirements is you must have a degree. I think as time goes on, it will change. But I've seen some of the larger companies still asking for a degree as a prereq. But again,
I'm not sure how relevant that is, Imran, especially in computing. I got a degree in economics and politics.
Yeah,
and I work in IT.
I know. Yeah.
So, and you see, there's a lot of people that are coming into computing. Especially if you look at Twitter, people that you follow, where they're really good at a job. Whether it be cloud and infrastructure, whether it be automation, whether it be application development. They don't necessarily have a degree in that subject, but they're passionate. They're willing to put the time to learn and apply. So I'm not sure how. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the approach to a traditional degree. If people want to go down that approach and that's what they like, then that's good for them. I was talking to my nephew. He's just doing his A levels and he's looking at the same thing. He's looking for an apprenticeship because he doesn't want to go do a degree either. So his idea is if he can't get an apprenticeship, he'll take a year out, see if he can get a job and continue applying. But I think it's becoming more and more popular.
I know someone who's gone for an apprenticeship scheme, but the company's paid for him to go and do a degree whilst he's working. So there is the option there if you wanted to get best of both worlds, maybe reach out to the employer and say, are you willing to fund my degree whilst I still work with you? So there is still options out there.
Yeah.
Azaan, so Saj just mentioned there his nephew that's obviously looking for an apprenticeship. students obviously have got their A-level results. It's been quite a success, as far as the A grades and A stars and everything for a lot of students in the UK. So congratulations to any that are watching. For those that are wanting to apply for an apprenticeship, like Saj's nephew, what advice can you give them on how to go about doing it, and how did you go about doing it as well?
I think the mistake that I made when applying for apprenticeships was going for the quality of apprenticeships and looking too much at the salary as well. I think just applying for every single IT related apprenticeship you can find, go for the interview, obviously do your research into the company and everything. But the thing is, when I got this apprenticeship, or I was offered the role, a few days before I went for the interview, I had a interview for an apprenticeship that was offering me 16,000 a year, just as a starting salary. They essentially said I got the job. They just had one more interview the next day, and you don't tell an interviewee that you've got the job before you've finished your interviews. And then that last guy ended up actually getting the job, and it was just like, okay, but then this BCN offered me the role, and it just ended up being an amazing opportunity that I would never have accepted if I didn't just come off the back of that kind of rejection. So it's just you can't discredit opportunities just because of the job description and
Would you say it was challenging finding an apprenticeship scheme? Would you say it was how, after you completed your college studies, how long did it take you to land a job?
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me about just under a year to find one. So I'd say it was quite fairly competitive. Although I focused on too much on what these apprenticeships are paying and that kind of thing, rather than just getting my CV out there to every employer that I could find, which is definitely the recommendation I'd give. Just apply for everything and then make the decision later, rather than just discounting a bunch of jobs that you might have a very successful future in. You just never know, really.
Nice, that's good advice.
Very good advice, Azaan. Very good advice. And again, I think when you especially when you're starting out in IT, again, there's this. My own friends think that people that aren't in IT, these are friends of mine that I've known for years. The perception is that IT is can be a big earner, and it can be. Don't get me wrong. Further down the line, you can earn big bucks, but I think when you're first starting off, it's about being at a place that you are going to learn the most. And they're gonna just throw you in at the deep end. And places like where you are, MSPs, in my opinion, they're the best places to start off, because you're dealing with smaller customers, and it's probably where you are, you're not, because they're quite a big BNC group are quite big, but starting off in like a support role where you might not be on the most pay, but that experience you gain is invaluable. And
100%.
That's what you can't put a number, like a numerical value on. And you might not get that if you're at a company where you might be getting paid more, but you won't be doing as many things. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We had another place I used to work a couple of jobs ago. They didn't do an apprenticeship scheme, but there was someone I knew, and I got him in as like an apprentice, because he wanted to just give IT a go. He'd never done IT in his life. He's a bit older than you actually, Azaan, and he totally flopped. And the reason was because we just weren't set up for that. It wasn't a good learning environment, because we were in an internal IT department, so we weren't like an MSP. We didn't have multiple customers. We were internal IT, so we didn't get a lot of different customers. The same people every day.
No.
So it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work. Depending on the company, you need to be somewhere that's gonna give you that learning opportunity. And it sounds like you've got that.
Yeah, definitely landed the right job. I think that 1 year wait paid off. Definitely, you're working with everything that we are working with today. We're working with all this tech as well. All of us. So you know what, perfect company seems. You've got what you wanted, really, haven't you? So
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're very willing to. I think at that the company I work at, they are very willing to let me take on kind of bigger tickets and more just whatever I think I can handle. They will let me take it and then see what I can do with it. And then obviously, if I come to a point where I need some assistance, then they will. There's always someone on hand to kind of assist me, which is
that's good
great.
news.
You know?
Good. That's good to know.
It's important that he asks for that help as and when he needs it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's actually a very good point. There are people who are shy, and they shouldn't be, or they think they might be proven as being stupid for asking for help, and that should never be the case. That's definitely not the case. I still, I've been in IT for 17 years now.
60 years.
17 years I've been in IT, 15 with the current. So I'm only 21, so I started when I was 4. So yeah, I've been in IT for about 17 years, and I still ask for help if I need it. There's no embarrassment.
Do you know why Azan's smiling? Because he was 1 year old when you started in IT.
Yeah, I started. I've been it's been about 17 years, yeah. So I've got no regrets going into IT.
Mashallah.
Seriously, I've got no regrets of going into IT. It's been an amazing journey. I'm sure it's the same for Saj and Shabazz. Obviously, Saj went into finance and then went into IT. So he's got best of both worlds. He can budget around tech, finance, everything, can't you?
He can money launder. He can use cyber security to money launder.
No, I was going to say, Azaan, the fact that you feel comfortable asking questions and you work in an environment where you're touching multiple customers, multiple tickets, you will learn a lot in that environment. So, take advantage of it and don't be shy to ask. Just ask any question. The only question that's a stupid question is one that not asked. So just ask any question, and if they're willing to help you, then good, make most of it.
He's all right. He's got his uncle Shabazz Darr to ask. He doesn't need no one. You've got the fountain of knowledge right on there. Well,
Not all.
So, Azaan, so based on your experience now around, rejection from the interviews, your interview process, your application process, getting an apprenticeship, and then working in that company for 3 months, what do you think organizations can do to help other people wanting to apply for apprenticeship to make that experience easier for them?
Good question.
The application process or the actual once you've got the job?
The actual process, because like you mentioned, somebody interviewed you, offered you the job, and then rejected you the following day, or you turning down positions, not even applying for them based on the job criteria not meeting what you wanted. So like the company that you're working at now, the job criteria might not be what you wanted, but the job is actually turned out to be better than what you were expecting.
Yeah.
Based on your experience.
I think being very transparent with the job description, because most people are going to decide to apply for a job or not apply for a job based on that job description. And if it's kind of very convoluted and not very clear and what the actual role is, then you just don't know what you're applying for until kind of you get to the interview. But not even until you get into the interview. Until you start the job, you don't know what you're kind of doing and what the environment's like.
And maybe simplify the job spec, but
Yeah,
provide
definitely
enough detail. And Summer, I'm kind of glad you made that point, because even today, the job specs, some of them are just over the top, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know what? That's not changed. That's still the same.
Yeah.
What we need to remember as well with these apprenticeships is that the people that are applying are very inexperienced. So this probably will be the first. Okay, some people might have applied for like a part-time role or whatever, but this is the first technically almost full-time role they'll be applying for. So trying to make the job description simplified and direct rather than convoluting it with loads of jargon, and making sure that it's clear what responsibilities are, what the benefits are. I think that's important because again, Azaan, Masha, you're 18 years old, but that is so young for to be working full time almost.
Yeah, it's full time.
yeah, for example, if one of us three was to go for, apply for jobs, we've done it 4 or 5, 6, 7. For me, this is my where I am now, is my fourth or fifth job. So I've done that process lots and lots of times. I've got that experience, but people who are doing apprenticeships don't. So so Imran said, simplifying it and like you said, Azaan, just be transparent because they're dealing with inexperienced people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even the terms they use in the job description, maybe like people like me don't even understand these terms. So language, a lot of different things they could do if they kind of put more into the kind of recruitment process. Rather than, and a lot of these employers actually use third-party recruitment services to get their apprenticeships, apprentices. So that's another reason where it's you feel disconnected from applying for the company. You feel like you're applying to then apply for the role at the company.
Do you know you mentioned earlier? I'm just asking this question because I find you very confident for an 18-year-old. We've seen people come on here very nervous, and for an 18-year-old, you're very confident. Does the job you're in provide you with, apart from 365, Azure, and all that, all the additional skills that you're learning? Do they also give you skills in building your confidence, or has this come from somewhere else? Because you are very confident.
I don't know. I think I've always been a decent talker when I've had to talk, like in interviews and things like that. I've been all right. Since I've started the job, though, I think my willingness to ask questions and that kind of thing has definitely got a lot more common. As in, I've started asking a lot more questions. I'm not afraid to kind of go up to different engineers and ask them, can you help me with this and that kind of thing. So yeah, but I think as far as confidence goes, I don't know.
So I've got the benefit of I've obviously seen Azaan grow up from a very young age, and so you were quite a shy lad quite early on when we first were a very shy lad, believe it or not. We recently attended the same wedding, one of my other nephews, his wedding, and I saw a different Azaan, if I'm honest with you, a very confident, like you're asking me loads of really intelligent questions, a lot more outgoing, and it is working in an office with other people, other professionals. That does bring another confidence out of you, that willing to ask those questions, because you actually see, wow, people that I'm working with are quite forthcoming themselves and they're really nice. You feel comfortable asking them questions.
Yeah.
And again, it sounds like a BNC. You're BNC, isn't it? Am I getting the acronym
BCN.
right?
BCN.
I knew I was getting it wrong. BCN. It sounds like at BCN they've got a good group of people who work there that are really looking after you and bringing you along. So that's really good to see.
Yeah. So it does seem that has helped you, because Shabazz has seen a big difference in you.
I did definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Good to know.
Yeah, I think more confidence in subject topic, kind of understanding, having a deeper kind of understanding of all these things that I've grown up hearing about, and all these networks around me. My dad setting up printers, IP addresses. As it started to all make sense, I've kind of just the confidence is just slowly built, I think.
100%.
Very good.
Do you feel like that what you're actually learning in these modules that you're doing and these courses? Are you putting those skills? Are you able to put those skills into like practical use? As in, what you're learning, is it practical that's going to help you practically? Is what I mean. So the MTA that you did, are you seeing that when you're dealing with tickets? Oh wow, I've covered that in the exam or covered that in my course.
That's a good question. I think the course material itself was good for building a foundation level understanding of just having a fundamental understanding of networking is just useful when you're doing support tickets, no matter what it is. Printers, you're gonna have to know what IP addresses are. You're going to have to know default gateway, these kind of things, that the terms that you're just going to have to know. If I didn't do that course, I would be a lot further behind the progress where I am now than where I am now. Just that 1 week course.
Tell you what's interesting, Saj and Imran, you remember when we were speaking to Mohammed Carrier around the graduate stuff and university, you're saying we didn't do any of this. Like, it shows what a difference there is between an apprenticeship and a like Saj touched on it about the degree stuff. There's such a difference because so the recent graduate, Azaan, if you look at that podcast from last month, he didn't do any networking. I think they saw a lab once, but there's very little networking, and we were all shocked. And it's great to hear that it's great to hear in apprenticeships they are actually teaching you that, because it's a foundation.
I don't know how current computer sciences degrees are run, or stuff like that, because my background is in finance and economics. But the people that did computing degrees at the time that I was doing economic degrees, when you speak to them, they took a year out and did a replacement year. So they went and took a whole year out and worked for a company somewhere. So they put a lot of what they learned into practice. I don't know whether that's still done now or not. I don't know how the degrees work, to be honest with you.
It is, yeah. Again, I did. It was called a sandwich course back in our day, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember
back in our days.
Back in our days.
I can say that. I'm old enough to say that. Azaan's not. I'm old enough to say that.
Azaan, do you know what? You should say, on your next question, just say, back in my days, I used to do a bit of YouTubing.
I swear, I will cut you from the stream if you say back in the day. You're not old enough. You're not old enough.
No.
Yeah, it was actually called a sandwich course, wasn't it? I did something similar. I took a year out as well.
And I stand by that 1 year in industry. Well, it's actually 18 months for me because I worked both my summers. That did me more good because it's a help desk role than my 3-year degree to prepare me for working in the IT industry. Not for life, I learnt loads. I met loads of great people, and I learnt to interact with people from other countries, other demographics, and all sorts. But as far as my IT career goes, that was invaluable for me.
And you know what I like is on the fact that they're teaching you networking. So I've got a finance background. And I'm working in compute, so I've done compute infrastructure, storage infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. But I studied CCNA, routing and switching, and firewalls because I wanted that understanding, and it's helped me immeasurably over years, to overcome problems. To even now, when you sit down and design stuff, and you want to submit environments, you want to securely build them and work out, what. Having that understanding of networking gives you that foundation to be able to do all of this. And if you're going to go down, the compute, cloud infrastructure, M365 services path, having that understanding of networking will benefit you immeasurably.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Did anyone else have a hand in your decision? Obviously, you were young, or did you just say, in going into IT, did you always, at what point did you say, right, I'm going to go into IT and that's it? Or did someone give you some advice, like Mr. Azaan Darr?
I think my main my kind of goal was to do this game development degree at university. As far as I don't even remember. I just always knew that I'd be doing something to do with computers. Right. I'd game a lot. It just fits my kind of personality. Even though some people don't say I look like a IT guy or whatever.
I know.
There you go. But I don't know exactly how or why I decided to go down to IT, but I just thought, it was a good decision in the end. I really enjoy it.
It just happens. It does. The same with me. There was nothing that triggered when I started in IT. There's nothing that triggered me in going to it. I had like what you do IT at school. It's like Excel and Word, so that doesn't really give you an idea of what it's like. And even when I was doing my degree, even though it was computer and information systems, it wasn't until I got hands-on in my year out that I was like, oh my god, I love IT. I love technology. I love because it was very on premises when I was doing it. I love fixing network problems and all that sort of stuff. And similar to Saj, before I became a consultant, I did my CCNA. I went to night school to complete my CCNA, because it just didn't fit my work schedule, and I went to night school for a year and completed my CCNA, and then I've not looked back since. So practical, you can't beat that practical element for me, being able, hands-on and learning as you go along. Definitely.
Where did this is for you, Shabazz, where did you do that night school, for anyone who's listening and interested in?
Leeds City College is where I went.
Oh, so you basically went to college to do that in the evenings and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was great. It was really good. Best thing ever. It was theory and practical, and we used to have labs and yeah, best thing ever. I really enjoyed it. And because again, my job at the time was mainly on premises, I learned so much from the networking, and then I transitioned that into cloud technologies. And if you can get networking down at an early age, Azaan, which it does seem like you're getting, then you'll be onto a winner, mate. Definitely.
So, Azaan, you touched on this. So you've chosen to go down the apprenticeship path, and you've got students coming out this week. They got the A-level results. Some have been committed to going to do a degree. Others will be sitting on the fence. So those that are not decided apprenticeship or a degree path, what would you advise them?
I think you have to kind of be honest with yourself and really have a conversation with yourself and say, am I going to spend the next 3 or 4 years, or however long the degree is? Am I going to spend this time wisely, or am I going to uni for whatever people at uni do? Or are you one of those guys that will spend the next 3 years really kind of working on your craft and really building knowledge that's going to take you very far later on in your career? If you are one of those people that's just going to waste their time, which personally I'd say I'm one of those people, I'd definitely go with the apprenticeship route, because it just gives you a bit of a discipline as well. Every morning waking up 9 to 5, whereas uni, you kind of just, you're just pulling yourself together at the last minute all the time, and there's no kind of structure there. I mean, there is, of course, but
there is structure, Azaan, but there's a lot of dependency on you as a person at university. Whereas like when you're doing a job, if you get to work late, you've got to answer to somebody for that. If you don't go to lectures, no one cares. They don't, there's not. It's not like if you don't go to school, someone rings up your house. If you don't go to work, you get sacked. Yeah. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I think it's just having the mature conversation with yourself and really kind of deciding whether what kind of life you want. Do you want to waste the next 3 or 4 years, depending on the type of person you are? Do you want to waste the next 3 or 4 years of your life, or use them wisely? It's your choice at the end of the day.
So I was speaking to my cousin, and he's having the same conversation, and he's decided that he's going to look for an apprenticeship. So he's been applying. Interestingly, I don't know if you had this, Azaan. He was told, he started applying before he got his A-level results, but he was told that they couldn't give him a decision until they knew his results from his A-level, which I found a bit odd. But his idea is he doesn't want to be in debt. So, you go to university, there's, university fees that you need to pay. I think it's about £9,000 a year each year. So he's adamant he doesn't want to have any debt, yet he still wants to work in IT and have the experience. So if he doesn't get an apprenticeship in the next couple of months, he's going to go get a job somewhere and continue to apply. That's the approach that he's taking. So he's had an honest conversation, like you said, with himself, and decided the degree path is not for him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Sad, you should connect him with Azaan. Maybe Azaan can advise him one-on-one. He's just experienced it himself.
If Azaan's okay with that, I'll pass you on to him.
There you go. We've already helped the first candidate without even releasing the video.
Excellent.
So it seems like you've had a really good journey. You've left school, you've gone to college, you've managed to find a job within a year, which is still really good. And you're obviously getting involved with Azure 365, networking, 6-7 certifications a year. Is there any particular area, after having worked with this company, is there any particular area you want to focus on? Is there something that kind of you love to work on? Like, is it Azure? Is it 365? Do you prefer networking? Or do you prefer all of it? Is there any, automations? Is there anything that you would say?
I think the big one for me is cloud and automation for me. just because that's where everything's going at the moment. Maybe a bit of DevOps as well. Programming. I'm familiar with programming. I've coded some mobile game in the past. I don't know if you've heard of it, Unreal Engine 4. No,
I don't do gaming.
Yeah,
I thought Shabazz. I think I know Shabazz is a gamer.
Shabazz is 15 years, so if he hasn't heard of it, then
All I know is that's always mentioned around me from my nephews and stuff is on my kids is PS4. Is it Roblox?
No.
And what else is there nowadays? I don't know, man. I'm totally not into gaming at all. A FIFA, you know what is it? A FIFA and Fortnite.
Honestly, I'm going to leave this conversation feeling like 20 years older after this. Honestly, God, you guys. Sorry, Azaan, go on.
No, it's a game engine, so it's not a game. It's just an environment where you can kind of program your own game.
Okay, interesting.
You don't even need to use C++, which is like the universal game programming language. There's this thing called Blueprint now where it's fairly complicated, but it's a lot easier than learning C++ from scratch. So if anyone wants to get into game development, that's a very good place to start.
love to have a look in that.
Yeah, no, you're seems to know his stuff, doesn't it? If anyone from Microsoft is watching, take this guy on.
It will be. We've got plenty of subscribers that are from Microsoft. So.
We have, yeah. That's why I said it.
No, again, they've been great. I mean, Azaan, that's all we've really got question wise. I think it's been great getting on. Like I said, we had a graduate on last time, and we spoke about apprenticeships, and then we just all three of us said, "Oh, it'd be great to get an apprentice on," and then. Obviously, as it just happened, the timing were perfect.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you're 3 months in, and we do appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for. No, I've enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you for giving me the call. Good to meet you all.
I can guarantee this isn't the last time you're going to see Azaan. Mashalah's got a very bright future ahead of him.
He looks it as well, yeah.
Good.
So,
Definitely.
Saj, Imran, anything else before we finish?
No, I just wanna. I know you've just finished work a bit ago, so really appreciate you coming on. I've learned something new today about apprenticeship schemes, and just a few weeks ago about the graduate scheme. So yeah, it's all good knowledge. It seems like there's always room for improvement, but it looks like it looks like they're getting there, aren't they, with these apprenticeship schemes? But yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
And me, Azaan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your thoughts with us. I'm sure it'll benefit a lot of people in similar positions to you. So thank you.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you from me as well, mate. And to all those watching, thank you. Please do obviously drop us a comment, and obviously subscribe. Definitely.
No.
So thank you very much and goodbye.
Bye.
No.
Bye.